controversial, but I couldn't care less. We have a lot of bad criminals that came into this country, and they came in stupidly. It was an unforced error. It was an incompetent president that allowed it to happen. It was.
And I think most people are like, okay, yeah, sure, bet. I completely understand, get them out of here. But then he goes on to say, and he's like, it may be controversial, but I don't care. But we also have a lot of bad people who were born here.
But we also have a lot of bad people that have been here for a long time. People that whack people over the head with a baseball bat from behind when they're not looking and kill them. People that knife you when you're walking down the street. They're not new to our country. They're old to our country. Many of them were born in our country. I think we ought to get them the hell out of here too. You want to know the truth, so maybe.
All right, first and foremost, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rukaha, Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS who I learned from. Shalom to those for elect, preaching his word in true sincerity. To you ribs, to you sisters out there learning in silence, staying in order, I say to you all, Shalom. So that's Donald Trump hinting at the Southern Kingdom being targeted next, right? And the Lord brings these type of topics up, and makes them public for our learning, to remind us who the enemy is, and to remind us who you are, you 12 tribes of Israel, the so-called blacks, the so-called Hispanics, like in the so-called Native Americans, right? Like, the Lord does this so we know, like, whoever's new coming into this, they understand who the enemy is, because the man of perdition has been revealed and is continuing to be revealed, right? Until the times of the Gentiles is fulfilled. So around the time of, that 2020, jump shots and stuff like that, or that era, they was trying to put the blame on who it was or who's more to blame as to who's carrying the virus. And one time in the news, they said it exactly the way the Israelites say it, right? They're saying that the people who carry it and pass it on the most is the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. They said it in that order, right? And that was, these are the things of faith boosters, man. Nothing wrong with faith boosters. It's just confirming on the things that we already know. Trump saying this, well, it's prophecy. This has to happen. And this is why like-minded brothers believe that, Trump is Nero. And if you look at the things that Nero was doing when he was out, he was persecuting Jake, man, Southern Kingdom at the time, right? But now we here in this captivity together, right? And it's prophesied to be like that. And the Lord again reminds us that we are oppressed together, that we're not like them. This is Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 33. Thus said Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai of hosts, which the host goes into armies, right? Because the Lord has an army. He's in perfect order. The angels are in perfect order, and they're waiting for that command, to deliver the children of Israel from Babylon, aka America. Right? It says the children of Israel, which is the northern kingdom, right? That goes from, Ephraim, the Puerto Ricans, all the way on down to Asher, Issachar, Simeon, right? 10 tribes of Israel, right? All South America, you call it, Central America, right? North America, where the natives are, right? Those are what the 10 tribes are in this side of the world. It says the children of Israel and the children of Judah, so-called blacks, Black Americans, the Jamaicans, the Virgin Islands, which is also Jamaicans, and then you have, the Haitians, which is the tribe of Levi, right? That what makes up the Southern Kingdom, right? And all of us on this side of the world are oppressed together, right? This is where predominantly the 12 tribes of Israel are, right? It says the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast, meaning tight. They refused to let them go, right? Because everywhere we went, every captivity that we served, the powers that be, right? The governors, the kings, all those things, they was profiting off the labor.
Many of them were born in our country. I think we ought to get them the hell out of here too. You want to know the truth. So maybe that'll be the next job that we'll work on together.
Now, if from my calculations, if they're correct, carry the 1 over the 0 and then the 2, I think he means citizens. That's what I think he means, because that's the only people who are born here, okay? That we've been here for quite some time. And when you start mentioning criminals, because I started listening to what he was saying, talking about, you get pushed over by into a subway and everything. I'm like, where is he getting this from?
But I think getting them out, we forget about them. We had some bad accidents in New York, and they're not accidents. They were done very much in purpose. People being pushed into a subway just before it arrives, going 40 miles an hour. And they're 10 feet away from where the thing is. You get pushed right into the face of the subway train, get whacked and killed. And these are sick people. I'd like to get them out of here too.
And then I check it out. I'm like, this is an actual story. Apparently, there was a black man who pushed somebody into the subway, and they were, gravely injured. I'm like, that's interesting. Now, aside from that story, who on God's green earth do you believe that they're talking to in the United States of America, or they're talking about when referencing criminals? Okay, I'll give you some time. Black people, that's who they're talking about. Us. That's what they're talking about.
Wake up, nigga.
To be more specific, black and brown. Okay, that's what. But they already have their way for the brown, because that's thanks to ICE and deportation. But now they had a problem with the black people, because one thing they did want is black people. They're like, oh man, goodness gracious, y'all are here. We got no way to get y'all out. So what we're gonna do is incarcerate y'all. That's what they did. Now they're talking about, well, now we got to figure out a way to get y'all up out of here, because the goal, you have to understand, the goal, Stephen Miller and the racists that he has in his cabinet, is an all-white society. It's an all-white country. They want to go back to like way back in the Naturalization Acts, because if you read the naturalization laws and stuff like that,
Right, and they want to go back to, where it was mostly all so-called white, right? But that was after the 12 tribes already built this place up, built the roads, built the buildings, all the infrastructure. They used you, now they're getting rid of you, right? They're not going to be able to maintain this place without us, man. Right? Without Yahweh Hashem Yahushua on their side, right? Because the Lord's getting ready to, deplete this man from all his riches. Right? This is all of the Lord. And we welcome it, man. We welcome it.
Stuff like that. It was for white citizens. That's what they want to go back to. That's what their white ignorant base wants to go back to. Now, do I think that they'll be able to survive? No, because racism it's like work for a worker bee. You ever know that if you put a worker bee and you give it nothing to do, it'll die. That's what'll happen. So if they try and do something like that, there will be some type of revolution. Because the only thing that's keeping the white ignorance at bay is the fact that they get to, taunt, ridicule, demean, and belittle black Americans. That's
was almost deported, was arrested by the federal government, held incarcerated for many days, and finally released when an attorney believed him. He was never not a citizen. Yeah, he's a black male. All right, let's get to it. Let's put up his picture full mask. Let me tell you about the horrific story, the thing that happened to Brian Buckle. Never should have happened, but it did. 62 years of age, was detained and almost deported to the British Virgin Islands because immigration officers refused to believe that he was a US citizen, and they refused to even check. Mr. Buckle, born in the British Virgin Islands, was automatically naturalized through his parents in the 1960s. He was 9 years of age. But in June 2020, while he thought he would be going home from prison to reunite with his son in time for Father's Day, he was told that Immigration and Customs, the enforcement wanted him out of the country. So ICE said, you have to go. Here's a quote. I came this close to being deported and losing everything. A nightmare that has stayed with me to this day, Mr. Buckle said. Civil advocates believe Buckle was subjected to the treatment because of his race. The US government settled a wrongful arrest lawsuit with Mr. Buckle on December 5th for $150,000. Not enough money in my opinion, and I will tell you why in a minute. Data shows that ICE
I had to run in with ICE Monday night, September 29th. I was at home, minding my own business, and I heard a knock at the door. When I looked through the window, I could see people in uniform. They were wearing the green Army fatigue uniforms. When I answered the door, they pushed their way in, and is there anybody in here with? And I told them no. They said, we want you to come with us. And I'm like, what for? You know, what is this all about? And that's when they told me, they said, just shut up and come with us. At that point, I grabbed my backpack and I headed on out the door with them. When we got on the porch, they put my hands behind me. They put those zip ties, they put those on me. Once they got me outside, we came down the street to the corner. And when we got here, right on the corner, they had a lot of units, a lot of cars were out here. There was some press, members of the press out here. They had right about where that car is at.
Right where the blue car is, or the green-looking car.
Where that green-looking car is at. They had a budget renter truck. They put me up into the truck. When I got in the truck, there were already about maybe 10 people who were already in the truck. And then they started bringing more people. They had everybody in zip ties. We were in the truck for about, I'd say maybe 20, 25 minutes. They sealed the truck up and the truck pulled off. Next thing I know, they're unloading us and we were out at the facility in Broadview.
I'm going to ask you about, I wanted to know what the conditions were like inside, but let's go back a little bit. When they knocked on your door,
Right.
And they told you to come out.
Right.
Did they tell you why?
No.
Did they ask you anything like who you are?
No. I tried to tell them.
See, man, that's just wild, man. You know, we knew this was gonna happen, but the people that this is catching off guard, they don't even care. It's crazy to me, man. Like, you got average Jake hearing these kind of stories, and they still going about their business. Like, this is how distracted the people are. They think that this place is gonna continue and it's gonna normalize again, right? By the time you get to react, it'll be super late, right? This guy is in his first year of presidency, and all this is going on at a rapid rate, right? Things are rapidly, changing again. I just wanted to bring this out, man. If Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. On to the next one. I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua, Bahashim Rakah HaKodesh. Double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS who I learned from. Shalom to those for elect, preaching his word of truth and sincerity. To you, Ribs, and to you, sisters out there learning in silence and staying in order, I say to you all, Shalom.